If you can hear us, let us know, please. Just give us a little type message. Yep, we can hear you. We're here. We can hear you. Hey, Jen. Thank you. Thank you, guys. So if you would like your name to pop up on my screen, because we're using StreamYard, you have to actually give StreamYard permission. There's some kind of button somewhere. Hi, Kathy. Golly, girl, I haven't seen you in forever. It's so good for you guys. So, surprise! This is kind of like a surprise live. Just because, you know, that great weather going on outside, and I'm actually feeling better finally. So, I wanted to come in and do some crafting with you guys and show you work. Ugh, exactly. No, I've been busy with work, but not just that. Just, you know, life in general. We have a new grandbaby coming in 2 weeks. Jordan's going to be having her 4th baby. I know. We actually are old enough to have grandchildren. Maybe we've gotten to the age where people stop saying that now. I don't know. When Kendall was born, people used to always tell us that. But she's like 11 now. So we are going to be going over the kit that is called Mr. Frosty. Yes, grandbabies are the best. So this is called Mr. Frosty Comes to Town. Now, we did release this, I don't know, 6 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. I'm not really sure. It was one of those things where it's in the middle of me right after having surgery. And I, I just couldn't do a live with you guys to show you all the cool little things that come in this kit. So I thought September 21st. Yeah. So it's been a month and 11 days, I guess, something like that. So that's not too bad. So I wanted to come on tonight and show you guys all the really cool things that are in this kit. Now, this kit, let's see how many times I'm going to say the word kit tonight. So this kit, the value is $49.95. No, sorry. The price is $49.95, but the value is $19.90. Sorry, guys. Let me start over. The price of the kit is $49.99, and the value is $99.99. We can get that out. Hi, Amanda. So once again, the cost of the kit is like $50, right under 5 cents at under $50, and the value of it is 5 cents under $100. So $99.99 is the value, and basically it's half off. So this is all brand new product that has never hit the market. It will not hit the market until July or August of next year. And when it does become available, it will be at regular price. So this is something we like to do a couple of times a year for our customers, kind of like a little treat for you guys. And then it's fun for us to have a kit where everything's put together, but you guys literally pay half of the value. And then no one else can buy the product. No retailers can sell it. No one has it except us for, we're going to say 6 months. And it's just going to vary depending on what kit, but it's at least 6 months. Like the last kit that we did with the shakers, that is going to be over a year before it gets released. But this kit just came out a month and 11 days ago, and it is called Mr. Frosty Comes to Town. So let me go ahead and show you guys all the fun stuff that's in the kit, and then I will do some fun techniques with you. My hands are blue because I've been working all day. And plus I was messing with black soot. So it's amazing how I get it all over myself. So the very first thing is you do get this cute little card. Now I know, and you might think, oh, Nicole, what's great about a little card? Well, when you flip it over, so I like to have a card like on top to introduce you the name of the kit. And some people like to keep these and put them inside a little baggie that they have for their kits. But what I did is on the back, I put some free little sentiments. So, I mean, why not, right? This is the front, and if, hey, we have free little sentiments on the back, which are not part, there's no actual stamp that matches these. It's just part of the kit. So you have this. Then you get a spatula, one of our Picket Studio spatula. You get a 6x6 stamp set, and this is called No One Else Like You. And it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sentiments, and then a huge, isn't he cute? Vintage snowman. Mr. Frost, Mr. Frosty, and he is super fun to color, and he's very easy to color because of all the shadows. You see all the shadows that I have in him? He's very easy to color because you have lots of shadows. So here's a card that Sarah made, and you can see it fits wonderful on a slim line. And then also, if you wanted to put him on an A2, he actually is sized perfectly for an A2. So that's usually what I do when it comes to 6x6, is that the image is going to be perfectly sized for a 6x6. However, more than likely, most of the time, it will also fit on a slim line. I do see Sarah trimmed a little of him off at the bottom. I haven't colored this one yet. I did die cut it. Hi, Brenda. I did die cut him, but I did not actually color him. So he fits great on a 6x6, on a slim line and a 6x6, as well as an A2. Okay, so I will go talk about the sentiments later. You get a piece of our brand new cork fabric. Now this, when you turn it on the back, you'll see it's fabric on the back, a very thin fabric. And then on the front, it's actually cork, dyed cork. And it has shades of blue, as well as a little bit of green in it. This is really beautiful. And it has some brown. So I didn't want to, I would die cut this. Probably with a tree dye or something, just because I just love trees. But I didn't want to include anything in the kit that I didn't have in the kit. So I do plan on using this. You can actually just cut this down to an A2 card front, or use it on a 6x6 because it is trimmed to a 6x6. So it's a 6x6 piece of fabric cork. Now I will tell you, whenever you die cut the fabric cork, always put the blade side of the die facing down on the fabric, because even though the fabric is very thin, it does have fibers going in different directions. So you do want the actual blade of the die to make contact with the fabric. It will cut out with your die cut machine. I would always use a shim, definitely, but also put the blade parts of the die facing the down on the fabric. Okay, and then you get 4 different snowflake dies. So these have been die cut for you, and there's 4 of them. And you can actually purchase these now if you want to buy the dies with them. We have 3 new snowflake dies this year, and you get this is like a little sampling of 2 of them. So you do get 4 die cuts, and they're big. You know, they're like, they do fit on an A2 card front as well as a slim line. Okay, then you get another die, which is, this also cannot be purchased separately. So this die is called More Winter Snowflake Dies. It will be available next Christmas season. So you get 5 of these, and they die cut beautifully. All right, then you also get the coordinating dies for Mr. Frost, or he's actually called No One Else Like You. So you get every stamp in the stamp kit. So all of the 1, 2, 5, 6, 7 sentiments, and you get the large die cut to cut out Mr. Frosty. So super cool. So you get both of those. So you get 2 die sets in this kit, and then you get this really fun stencil. Now, if you see, the stencil is actually called fancy Christmas tree blending stencils. So it doesn't necessarily go with A2. It doesn't really have a card size. Now tonight I'm going to show you how to play with it on an A2 size, but you can also use this on slimline as well, or 6x6 or 5x7. But if you see, do you guys see that there is a score line right here? That's because when I designed this stamp, I purposely wanted you to be able to cut it apart, because this is kind of like a little trick, if you will, where I wanted you to have both of these fancy Christmas tree stencils. So instead of doing two 6x6s, I put them both on a 4x10, which is the size that you get with our slimline stencils. So you get two stencils in the kit, two fancy Christmas. Then you also get some pearlescent paper. So this is like a white, you get black pearlescent, and they're all nice pearlescent colors. You get this beautiful, I would call it an ice blue, very pretty, and then silver as well. So you get 4 sheets of pearlescent cardstock. Yeah, so you get 4 sheets of pearlescent cardstock, and they will come between 2 pieces of cardboard, because we're trying to get them to you without getting bent as much as possible. We do our best for that. Then you also get 2 bags of embellishments. So let me dump these out for you. So the first embellishment, and my hands are blue because I was playing around with the stuff all day, sorry. So the first bag of embellishments have blue, pink, silver, clear snowflakes, sequin snowflakes, and then you have some white clay snowflakes as well. So you get a baggie of those. Of course, I'm not going to get them back in there. And then you also get another baggie of embellishments that has this elastic cord in it, as well as several large Christmas tree sequins. And they're pretty big. You can see how large they are. They're a nice size, and they don't have holes in them. So they actually are meant for card making. I had them custom made this time last year so we could release them this year. Now, the elastic cording that comes in this little baggie is actually meant for a shaker card that I'm going to have to come back on and show you what to do with that. But it's meant for, not a shaker card, an interactive card. So, you know, they have cards that you die cut a circle into the front of a card front, and then you dangle something behind it. Well, if you use plastic cording with it instead of just twine, it actually will give it a better spin. So that was the purpose of giving you some plastic cording within there. Okay, now, so, and that's not all. You also get 2 1-ounce jars of, one of them is paper glazed velvet. It's called Nordic Lights. This is an exclusive color. It will not be released until next Christmas. This color only comes in the kit. So it's a 1-ounce jar. Then I also wanted to give you guys a 1-ounce jar of our paper glitz that's called Sparkle. So this is our clear sparkle, and some of you might actually have this sparkle already. However, I wanted to make sure you guys had like a second jar of it. That way, I don't know, let's say you're going to your friend's house, or let's say, I don't know, you have a crafting retreat that you go to all the time, and some of those places allow you to leave stuff there. You can actually leave a jar of your paper glitz there, or, you know, maybe you just needed a little extra, right? So you get both of these 1-ounce jars. One is velvet and one is paper glitz Sparkle. Okay, and then also, so that's everything that comes in the kit. But we also have some add-ons. If you like, you can get a 1-ounce jar of the exact same sequence that come with the kit. That's a mixture of snowflake sequence and white clay snowflakes. It's a 1-ounce jar. And then I also made, you can get this in a 1-ounce jar, but you can also buy it in a baggie. Okay. So some people they didn't want a jar. They wanted a baggie because they had their own system of organizing sequence. So we put the same exact sequence that came in the kit that I spilled all over a minute ago. That you could buy them as add-ons. You can get a 1 ounce jar, or you can get a baggie of it. Then we also did the same thing. This one, though, is a custom mix that was made just for an add-on. And I'm going to be honest, it's my favorite of the season. It is, and Matt's not in here because we're not going to get perfect lights. But it comes with a whole bunch of those I had these custom made, these large snowmen. Let me put it right here. So it comes with a lot of these custom cut snowflakes. It comes with a whole bunch of crystal clear sequins as well as iridescent. And I'm trying to, what else is in there? I was trying to see. Okay, so that's it. You get tons. See, look how much that is. That's in a 1 ounce jar. I mean, that's a lot, right? Or if you don't want that much, you can choose to buy the little baggie, which is separate, of course. So this is pretty much what a 1 ounce jar looks like. Isn't that insane? So that is an add-on. It doesn't even have a name. Then you could also choose, if you wanted, you could purchase more white clay snowflakes, which, guys, I use these all the time. And I love having a 1 ounce jar of them. So you could choose to have a 1 ounce jar of snowflakes, or you can buy a little baggie of snowflakes. But I'm not going to lie, I use these little clay snowflakes on everything. I really, I have one of these little jars that sit on my shelf in my studio, and I'm always reaching for them. So you have a choice. You can buy a baggie, which obviously is less, or you can get the 1 ounce jar. All right, so let's cut to the chase. I've shown you everything that comes in the kit and all the add-ons. So let's cut to the chase, and let's look at what I did today. Okay, of course, I didn't finish a card because, you know, it's me, but I stopped working at a certain time so I could make some card samples to show you guys today. So these cards I'm about to show you came from the design team. So here's a card from Hee Jung. She actually lives in Florida. Excuse me. And here you'll see that all she did is simply, she used the paper that came with the kit. She silver embossed one of the sentiments, cut one of the snowflakes in half. Isn't this so cute? And then added, I mean, this is one of those super simple cards, but yet it really has a nice punch to it with all the silver and the blue. It's super cute. And look, no Mr. Frosty on it, right? Isn't that fun? Hi, Dawn. Then we have this card, which is from Sarah. And Sarah went crazy. She die cut tons and tons of those small snowflakes because you get that whole snowflake dies, right? There's 5 of them. So she used the pattern paper that came in the kit. She used a sentiment from the stamp, and then she stamped and die cut the snowman, Mr. Frost, and then colored him. Isn't he gorgeous? And this is a beautiful slimline card. I mean, it's beautiful. This would look great sitting on a mantle. I don't have a mantle because we live in South Louisiana, but I'm always jealous of other people who get to decorate their mantle at Christmas time because I just like crave to go and decorate and put all the pretty cards that people send me, or, you know, pretty cards on the mantle. Then we have this card. This one also is by Hee Jung, and she used, can you see that? She used the cork paper for her background. So she actually cut the cork paper that you get with this kit. Okay, you get a 6x6 piece, and she cut it down, and she used the sparkle and the stencil on top of it. Isn't that beautiful? With lots of little snowflakes. And then last but not least, this is another one by Sarah. Sarah, instead of coloring the snowman a second time, she made a shaker. Because if you have, so when you have a large die cut like this, so what she did is she die cut the front of her card base and then used the back. You can see it, it's like covered with, and then on the back, when she closed her shaker, she used the snowman stamped on some of the cardstock that comes with the kit to make a shaker. So this is like super fun. And this is a no color. Look, there's no coloring on this. This is, you know, not that it's simple to make, but you actually can use this kit if you're not someone who likes to color, or if you're not really into large sentiment. I mean, large coloring large images. Look how cute that is. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you guys some tips and tricks on how to use the stencil that comes with this, because there's so much stuff that comes in this kit. I could probably do 5 or 6 lives easily about this kit. And there's so many different elements in this kit also that all the cards like that the design team made with this, and you can see more cards when you go on the website and click. There's 2 buttons for the kit. There's one that's just the kit, and then there's another button that's the kit plus one of all the add-ons. Okay, so this is the stencil that came with this kit, and I'm going to go ahead and open it because I want to show you what this does. So when I was designing this stencil, and I designed both of the Christmas trees. And like I said, my plan was to put them both on separate 6x6 stencils. Then I realized, wait a minute, that's not going to take up a whole card front, right? So this is one that I did today. So it doesn't take up the entire card front. So what I did is I made them fit, both of them fit on a 4x10. And all I did is I put a little line. It's not a score line. It's just a line right here. Okay, this line. So where this way you could take this. You can leave it together, of course, if that's what you want to do. But you can, or what I planned why I did this is to cut it into 2 pieces. Okay, now you have 2 stencils that are so much easier to use than the one large stencil together. So you have 2 stencils now. Now I'm going to put these to the side because these are the ones I was playing with earlier today, and they already have pixie spray on the back of them. Guys, I suggest when you use these stencils, you use some kind of adhesive on the back, some kind of spray adhesive that's meant for stencils, because they're very delicate and they're very detailed. So it's super easy for something to slide underneath it. So what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to show you how I used the sparkle. So do you see that sparkle? So I'm going to show you how to use the sparkle and get a perfect result. So do you see how well that there's no leakage? Nothing's, you know, it's the entire design. Everything is there. Now, I will give you a hint. The pearlized paper, don't use the pearlized paper with either one, with any type of your, you can use the pearlized paper directly to, you can use the mixed media directly on top of the pearlized paper. But when I tried to stencil the sparkle on top of the pearlized paper is slippery. So what happened is when I was very gently adding on the sparkle, my spatula kept sliding underneath my stencil because the surface that the stencil was on was slick. I wasn't successful using it on the pearlized paper. I suggest just using it on regular cardstock. And here you can see I actually used it on green cardstock. So let me grab a piece of this dark green cardstock. And this card, I don't keep my cardstock in, I keep my cardstock in color order, right? So because I keep it in color order, I don't know the name of it. I don't know the name of the brand. I would guess it's probably MFT because I love their cardstock. So what I'm going to do is this is the Make Art Station by Ranger. And I'm going to put this down, and I have all the magnets to hold it down. Then what I'm going to do is I already have pixie spray on these. And let me do this one. Now, I have my ruler down here at the bottom. It's been destroyed, but I have it taped down because I like it to stay right where it is. So that way I know that my, the bottom of my stencil can sit straight on there. So I'm going to come here, and like I said, I already have pixie spray on the back of my stencil. Now, you have to be careful when you're using colored cardstock because it's usually very fibrous. And I can tell you, the first time I did this, you see the little tear right there on my paper? You probably can't, but there's a tear right there and right there. So pixie spray can do that. You just need to be extra careful and try not to allow it to grab onto anything. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some more magnets. So, I'm in my video annex, so I had to go grab some more magnets. So I am a little obsessed when I'm doing this. I want it to stay, okay? I do not like it to move. So what I'm doing is I do not want these snowflakes to show up on my card. So I'm actually going to come here and I'm going to mask off these snowflakes. Even though I'm not going to go anywhere near them, I have learned in the past, if there's something on a stencil that I do not want it to show, I better go ahead and cover it up. Now I'm going to take all my magnets from my Misties, and I'm going to put them, actually, I'm going to take this down. And okay, this is overkill, right? It's total overkill. But by doing all this overkill, nothing's, hopefully, you know, this is live, so chances are it's not going to come out right just because it's live. But I want to have this sucker stuck down. Also notice I'm going in and pushing the stencil with my fingers because I've made the mistake before of thinking like just slapping the stencil down and then not going and pushing it down to realize I need to push on it to make sure there's no bubbles and everything in it has been adhered to the paper. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I did this. Okay, you see the sparkle? Now, I've heard people say that they find that the sparkle, because it's looser, more fluid, I should say, than other mixed media products that we sell at Picket Studios, that it could be a little harder to use. However, it's really not harder to use. You just need to use less of it, okay? So the jar that I'm using is the jar that I have made mini cards with. So your jar is not going to look like this. Your jar is going to be brand new. But anytime you buy any of our glitz, the first thing you want to do is stir. Now this jar, I've already stirred it several times today, so it's pretty much already mixed up. But whenever you're using sparkle, either this sparkle or the golden sparkle, it's not like scooping ice cream or putting on peanut butter, okay? This is it's more fluid, okay? And yours will thicken up a little bit after you've opened it, okay? And all you want to do is, I like to scoop some on the back of my spatula. That's actually a little bit too much. And I'm going to come in and gently just place it down. Now, this takes a little bit longer than, you know, you have to have patience with it. But I'm going to come in here and very gently place my sparkle on all these little openings. So the trick is, the smaller the stencil, the smaller the design on the stencil, the smaller amount of mixed media product you need to use. Okay, so when you have one of these fine little detailed stencils, you do not need to use much sparkle or really much of any mixed media product to get a nice finish. But you want to make sure you're using it on a surface that's not super slick, because the sparkle itself is slick because, you know, it's a glitter glue. So it has glue in it, which makes it slick, but also it has glitter and mica. So because of those two elements themselves, all three, well, the elements that make up some of glitz are slippery. So that will cause you to have problems if you try to use it on pearlescent or a slick surface. So that's why I went ahead and grabbed, and we all have like different shades of cardstock in our craft room. So I just grabbed a dark green. No idea what company it's from. I just buy cardstock of the colors that I like, and I put it in color order, rainbow order. So you notice I'm just using a small amount, and notice I'm not scraping my stencil. I'm just dabbing this on. I'm not going back and forth. I'm just trying to put it on and get it to go through the opening very gently. And you will end up, hopefully, I'm not going to say it and jinx myself, but this is what I did earlier when I wasn't live. And I ended up with several perfect stenciled Christmas trees. Now, I'm going to move this magnet over for a second. And you might ask why I'm using a whole piece of green paper and not just a card front size. I just find that when it comes to stenciling, I like to use a full sheet of paper because it's bigger, right? It's a bigger piece, and I can put more magnets on it and really keep that paper still. So notice very small little dabs. And you might say, I don't know if I have patience for that. Well, you know, earlier today, I put on a movie that I've seen like 10 times. So I just had something in the background that I didn't have to pay attention to, but it just gave me a little bit of a distraction, you know. And then went ahead and did several of these back to back. Now, I will tell you that this small, normally after I do a stencil design with our products, I feel like I can take it and go immediately to the second, take it and bring it to another piece of paper and do a second stenciling project. However, I don't find that with these. They're so delicate that both of the mixed media products in this kit, after I pulled it up, they had a little bit in the back of it. So I did have to wash these after every time I use them. Plus, our mixed media products dry super fast. So you'd always want to clean your stencils right away. A lot of times I'll keep a bucket of water on the floor next to me. And if I'm planning on doing a lot, I will just dump the stencils that I'm working in there. And then the end of the day, I'll grab them and go to my laundry room and, you know, in that sink and clean them out. I don't like to clean my stencils with baby wipes because it is very easy to destroy a stencil with a baby wipe or a paper towel. So I prefer to just let water loosen the product that's on top of my stencil. And then from there, after it's all clean, I'll put it between two paper towels, and I won't rub it. I'll just let it kind of like sandwich between two paper towels and dry it off that way. I've just ruined many stencils by being careless and not taking my time. So I no longer clean them with any type of tool or even my fingers or a towel. I let water do it. So if you see, this is taking time, I know, but I wanted to show you guys that because this is how you get the perfect finish with a thinner, more fluid mixed media product, like our sparkle or our golden sparkle. And it's worth it. This is definitely worth taking your time because there is nothing else as sparkly on the market as this. This might be like watching paint dry, but okay. Now, this is live. So usually things go wrong when live, right? But I'll show you. Earlier today, I did this one and it came out perfect. And I did this one and it came out perfect, okay? So this is the method that it works, but it's live, so God knows what's going to happen when I pull this up, right? All things happen on lives. Thank you. Yes, so we're going to pull this up and just, this takes a little time. However, it is worth it because you just get such an amazing look. And everyone who gets a card that has sparkle on it, they're always like, oh, it's the most glittery card I've ever seen. So we're just going to pull up straight up. Okay. So I did get a little too much on the bottom. It's okay. It's live. It happens. I knew it wasn't going to be perfect. But let me get a baby wipe. Because it doesn't matter if I did this 5 times today, right? And it was all right. Perfect. So when this dries, you could go back with your stencil and put it back on top and give it another little, but I'll make you bet this is because of my pixie spray. So I'm just going to scrape it off. Like so. So yeah, it came out great. All right, so it comes out really nice. And do you see how this is not level right there? See those parts that are not? That's what's great about our Glitz products. They self-level. So I'm just going to put this to the side on a level surface. And when I come back to it, it will be completely level. And if you see here, the one I did earlier, when I did this part here, it self-levels with no added, you don't have to do anything to it. It just levels itself out. So Matt's going to go clean that stencil off for me. He's already taken it out the room. And I want to show you, so then I have this also. So this one was the same exact stencil. However, I use the Nordic lights with it. And guys, Nordic, this is such an amazing color. I know you're not going to be able to appreciate how beautiful this color is, but it's like the perfect, not sapphire. It's not navy. It's not sapphire. It's not even royal blue. I don't know exactly the name of the color that I created there, but it is very pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one with you guys real quick also. If I can find paper. This time I'm going to use Bristol Smooth cardstock. This time I'm going to use Bristol Smooth cardstock because I want it to use on white. All right, so what we're doing here is I'm going to pull down my paper again, grab the other stencil. So this is the stencil we haven't used yet. And I can tell the pixie spray is kind of wearing off, but it's okay. We're going to go with it. And I'm going to place it down. And you can see I have played with this stencil today. And I am going to come in here and push it down. Now this goes a little bit faster than the sparkle does because velvet is thicker. But I don't want these small snowflakes to take any of the velvet, because so I want to show you how you can take your stencils, and if you just cover them with Post-it notes, you very easily can alter your stencil. I want to come back on this card and put some embellishments here. So I'm just going to cover those snowflakes as well as the one down here. And this, I really enjoy doing this because it kind of, it's like a little trick. You can stretch your supplies this way by covering things up on your stencils. Just takes a moment. All right. Whatever I have left, I'm just going to use to tape down the card. Now, I am going to come back with crazy strong misty magnets, right? Because there's nothing stronger than those suckers. I'm sure there is, but you know what I mean. So I do get a little obsessive. I want it to stay, right? I'm just a little obsessed with it. French blue. There you go. That's a good color. That's a good name. French blue. Now, I've already used some of it in this jar, so I'm going to continue with this jar. But obviously, your jar will be full. This is a brand new jar. See, it's nice and full. But the jar I'm using, I have played with a bunch today. So I'm going to continue with this one. So I'm going to continue. Wait, let me make sure you push it down. Make sure all areas are pushed down. Now, this is going to go a little faster because velvet is not fluid. See, velvet is very thick. I can get a big, see how thick a velvet is. And velvet is a twist on our paper glaze. So it's called paper glaze velvet because it has some of the same properties as our paper glaze, meaning it dries very quickly. But it also dries matte, not shiny, not pearlescent. And you might say, well, I want everything to be shiny. I want everything to be pearlescent. Yeah, totally. I agree with that. But there are some times where you want a different texture. And that's what velvet does, is it gives you a great alternative that you might not have ever even thought that you needed. One of my favorite things to do with velvet is to actually, now guys, don't get crazy. You've got to remember small amounts. The smaller the stencil, the more detailed, the smaller amounts you should be using. I forgot what I was saying. Oh, velvet. So velvet's going to dry just like paper glaze, meaning it's going to dry like a plastic substance. However, it's going to have shine in it, not sparkle, not pearlescent like paper glaze. Paper glaze is pearlescent. So it's going to be like slick, which is what paper glaze is, where paper velvet is not slick at all. Yeah, this jar is almost done. Yeah, I was playing with it a lot. It actually still has a lot left in it. This was my sample jar, so you're going to see what I also did with it. Why there's not much left in it, because I was playing with my gel press today. And you know I love the gel press. So I used a whole bunch of it on my gel press. And I'm going to show you the pulls that I did with this color. Yeah, you can't ever, seeing how much I use, because, and this is my testing jar. I just didn't want to open another one until this was done with. I wanted to finish this one off. All right, I think that's everything. Okay, so I'm gonna take a baby wipe and I'm gonna clean my spatula right away, right? Clean my spatula. Also, it's important to go around and clean just the outer rim, because if you don't, your paper glaze could dry and get stuck in the little crevices in your jar. All right, so let's move the crazy amount of magnet, Nicole. Pull this up. So you see how easy that was? So much, it is a lot faster when you use a different medium other than sparkle, because sparkle is so much fluid. However, it's how beautiful sparkle is. So if you see how great it came out perfect. Now it's not very thick, because also since it's such a delicate stencil, you also have to watch on how thick you put it, okay? So this is great how the second stencil comes out. You saw that was very easy. So I want to show you some things that I did today. So I started off with the green cardstock, right? And when I had it on here, I put a little bit too much pixie dust on the back of my stencil. So you notice it kind of pulled right here, but that's okay. So this is one. And then the other one I took and I cut it out. And then I went back with black soot, Tim Holtz's black soot, and one of our small blending brushes. And I came in and I just added black soot to the edges. And I just fussy cut this out. Just fussy cut it. You don't have to, but it kind of knocked my paper pulled a little bit. So I didn't want to throw it away because it had come out perfect. So I decided, let me just cut it out. And then I'll edge it with some distress ink. And you'll notice that if you look down here, the paper sparkle, the paper glitz sparkle will grab on to that ink. But if you just take a baby wipe, because all of our mixed media products behave like plastic once they're dry, most of the black will come off. Okay. And then I went around with the baby wipe just to moisten the edges and to make the ink wick out a little bit. Okay. So that's going to be one of my card fronts. And then this one, I'm going to leave this one just like it is. And I'm going to hide. Your cat's on your keyboard. Hello, kitty cat. So I stenciled it higher up on the card because I like to put a sentiment at the bottom. And I went ahead and stamped and I die cut all the sentiments for this stamp set that comes with this. So that way we would have our pick of what we're going to use, except. So guys, if you look at this, all I've done is for this kit is use the stencil. That's it. There's so many more things you can do with this kit. We haven't even touched the stamps or the dies or the cork paper. I mean, there's just so much in this kit. And that's my goal. When we do a kit, I want you to open it and go, wow, that woman's crazy. What was she thinking? This is an insane amount of product for the price. Yeah, that's what I want you to have. If I'm going to do a kit, you guys are going to be happy about it, whether you like it or not, right? What we tell our kids. Okay, so here I have all the sentiments that come with the kit. I do think this one is going to need a nice bold sentiment because I left all this space at the bottom, and I like to do that. I like when I'm designing things, I like whatever the design is on the card to actually have a sentiment that sits. He ordered stamps, so very funny. I like to have my sentiment at the bottom of the card where it looks like whatever it is standing on top of the sentiment. So that's what I was thinking here. And then this one, if you see, I did the exact same thing that we just did together with the Nordic Lights Velvet. And then after I went and did some ink blending around it. So I did a lighter blue, and see, this is just white paper. And I did a lighter blue around the edges and then black soot around the outside of it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some direct to paper. And you might be like, Nicole, what are you doing? No. I like this. And then what you can actually, after you add the paper, you can take your brush while it's still wet and you can pull it further in on the card with your blending brush, and it gives it just that much more vintage feel. I'm also going to make sure the edges of my card are black because I am putting this on the black pearlescent paper that comes with the kit. So I just, not that I'm trying to make it spooky or grungy, I'm just trying to make it look a little bit more vintage. So one of my tricks is you can edge it with the actual pad and then come in and use your blending brush to pull that down. Maybe if I put the card down, yeah, to pull that ink into the card like so. And always remember when you're trying to make something vintage, your corners are going to be the dirtiest parts. Just like when you're cleaning your house, what's the dirtiest part of your house? The edges, right? Where the walls meet up. So that's what I always say when I'm trying to show someone how to make something look a little bit more vintage, is to make the corners darker. Now, another trick, so it's kind of harsh. Take a baby wipe and just touch it with the baby wipe. And what that does, it'll dull down some of the ink and make it wick out at the same time. So you get the harshness of the black ink, but then you can take away some of that harshness, see, just a little of it, with the baby wipe. All right. So you see how simple that was. I mean, to make sure, and it's just going to dry flat, okay, again. But here, so instead of putting a sentiment that's really bright white, here I want to come in and I want to stamp on this. So I want to stamp on black. Some people might not like to stamp directly on their cards. However, I think of it as a challenge. I enjoy, look, there's all my magnets. I really like stamping directly on my cards. It just gives it, in my opinion, a very finished look. And, you know, to me, that's kind of part of stamping, is to have that sentiment, bam, right there. Now, don't get me wrong. I love sentiment dies. But to me, this card, and I'm going to put a lot of embellishments on this card. So I want to make sure. Why is it not sticking? It's not sticking to the mat. It's probably because I need to restick this mat. So I don't want it to move. So I'm sticking some extra paper down on it so it stays. Plus the 3 magnets that I just did something with. Can you tell I don't like stuff to move? Really annoys me when something moves. Okay, so now let's find a sentiment from the stamp set that we can use. So we use Have a Holly Jolly. I don't know, I might use that one again. I like the way it fit all the way across the bottom. So this time I'm going to use, from the stamp set, Have a Holly Jolly Year. So instead of this just being Christmas, if you use the word year, it could be a New Year's card, right? And you know what's great about New Year's cards? You can send them after Christmas. So I've always thought of, if I didn't get the chance to send someone a Christmas card, guess what? I send them a Happy New Year's card. That way, I don't feel like I gypped them for a Christmas card. I just saved you and sent you a Happy New Year's card instead. You know what I mean? If I can find a black ink pad. All right, found a black ink cube. All right. This is a brand new stamp. Normally I would take my stamp scrubber and clean it first, but we're live, so we're just going to stamp it up. Now this is a very thick font, so I want to make sure, since I went through all the trouble of making my card front, I'm going to stamp it off once to make sure that it is, yes, stamping correctly. That Have has a little too much. Okay. All right. Sometimes when you get a brand new ink pad, it can be too juicy. So I'm going to stamp this up. And this should not have any trouble because this is just paper, right? So let's see. Let's put it down. I'm going to just push it with my fingers because I have no idea where my stamp thing is. It's in my other room. Okay, so let's see. All right. Pretty good, but we're going to do it again. Why? Because we have a Misty. So we should do it again. All right. Okay. Yeah, that looks really good. Now, let's see if I can find embossing ink. Okay. Normally I would clear emboss this on top, but I don't know where it is. So we will just leave it like that. And I'm going to save this tape by keeping it in here. And I will come back and clean that stamp when I have my stamp scrubber. So I'm just going to do this to keep my stamp from getting ink on my Misty mats. There you go. And I'll clean that later. Okay, so here we go with our very Have a Jolly Holly. So I like the way things look stamped. To me, it gives it a really good cohesive look, but this definitely needs some sparkle, correct? So instead of flicking, what I want to do is this is raised, right? So I want to just stick my finger into the sparkle that comes with the kit. And I just want to rub gently, Nicole. Just rub. Now I could take the stencil and put it back on top of this. That probably would be a good idea. But I'm just going to rub a little bit of sparkle on top. You don't have to do this. It is very shiny on its own, but you know, it is Christmas, right? And if there's a time of year that you need to get your sparkle on, it's Christmas. All right, so just a little bit. You see the sparkle? Just a little bit of sparkle. Not much. Just a little extra. Just a little extra bling. All right, so that's done. Now, I'm going to cover. I'm not going to sit here and make you watch me add a whole bunch of sequins, but I do want to show you what I'm going to do with this card. So I have a piece of the pearlescent black paper that comes with the kit, and I'm going to score this at 4 1/4. Okay. And when I have the edges of a card black, I like to also use black paper. So see how nice this, it's like a charcoal more than it is a black that comes with it. So you can see that's what I'm going to put this card on top of. And I might pop the whole card up. I'm not sure. But what I do know what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a bunch of sequins to this. So I'm just going to pour the sequins out. And I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me play with sequins, but I just wanted to show you, if I can find the tool, that I am going to add tons of not just one type of sequins. I'm also going to add a whole bunch of the clay because I just love clay snowflakes. And this card, I might end up misting this card with a little bit of watered down sparkle because it does look like it needs a little bit more. What about? But I am going to put, and remember we have all of that. What is this? Oh, and then you also, this is the alternative. If you wanted to add on some, this is also an add-on, so I could come in here and grab. I like to mix my sequins. I don't like just to have like just snowflakes. I like to have snowflakes, and I like to have round sequins. I like to have many different sizes of things on my cards. So it gives it just much more of an eclectic feel, an eclectic look. But I do think I am going to come and add, I don't know, I might water down some paint and add like some snow just to kind of like lighten it up a little bit. Yes. So that is one, and that's just with the one stencil. I could probably sit here and go all day. But I wonder, let me see. This one has all these tiny little baby sequins in them. Oh, you know what? I know what I'm going to do. Well, that's not part of the kit. We do have gems that I could come in here and add some gems to this. Does the tree look cute with the tree on top? I don't know about that. Anyway, when you get to this point, your card's pretty much done. You just need to embellish it, right? Now this one, I'm going to glue this down. And because I added white to this one here, I'm going to have to mist it with some type of white. Definitely. And this one is probably going to get lots and lots of white clay snowflakes. That's why I feel like I always need the big jar of white snowflakes, because I really do use the whites. I use them a lot. So this is an add-on, and it's at a really good price. And if you don't see it there, somebody, Jen, can you go check to make sure that the snowflakes, the jar of snowflakes is on the website? Because we were out of them. And I don't know. I have a feel. I don't know if I don't remember putting them back on the website. So this is going to have a lot of clay snowflakes. And you see how now this white is pulling in the white down here? Yeah. All right. And then I probably will also edge the edges of this also with black soot. I might come in and do some darker green first and then come in with black soot. Now, I showed you this one. I could, this one is, I'm going to pop dots. I'm going to pop it up. I'm going to actually flatten it overnight, let it get nice and flat. And then I'm going to pop it up on a card. But you see, all I did was fussy cut it. That's it. And to hide that I fussy cut it, I showed you guys this already, but I went in with our one of our life-changing blending brushes, and I just made it look a little bit more vintage with some black soot. And then it gives it much more character, more depth. Okay, so the snowflakes are not on the website. None of the purple and pink ones. None of the purple and pink what? So the white snowflakes are not on the website, but this jar is, and this jar. These two are not on the website. Okay, I'm going to go look in a minute. I'll go look and figure out what's going on. I know that we were out of some things, so they were taken off the website, but then we got them back in stock. So, yeah, people like add-ons, and we try to always price our add-ons where they're very economical, and you guys can have extra in your kits. All right, guys, so that's about it for tonight. You never know if I get a chance to make more cards this week. Who knows? My schedule's been a little hectic lately. I'll come back and show you and I'll take pictures of these cards that I started and put them on Facebook. So, all right, guys, have a good evening. And remember, the smaller the detail of a stencil, the less product you need to use. And when you come to sparkle, you want to add it very lightly using the back of your spatula, because a little bit, and look at that. That was just a little bit of sparkle, and look at that crazy goodness. Isn't that amazing? I should do this in the gold too. Oh yeah, that would be good. All right. Well, I'll see you guys later. I'm glad you stopped by for my surprise live. See you later. Bye-bye.